Welcome to another conscious conversation on the Tidy Mind channel. If you are like me, I like to use any type of spiritual teacher or anyone who is speaking from that place of focusing on consciousness and being conscious and being present, such as Eckhart Tolle, Ram Dass. There's others. Those are the older ones. But I listen to those during times when I know I'm being sucked in, overtaken, controlled by the ego voice or the drama queen in my head. And I know that by my reactions, my actions in the world, my engagement with other people, how I feel inside, whether I'm calm and peaceful during the day or I'm constantly disturbed. Those are the signs that tell me that, yep, I am not holding consciousness. I'm not just being with the life. I'm not being surrounded by life. Even though I am surrounded by life, I'm not focused on the life surrounding me. I'm focusing on the voice surrounding me, the voice inside my head. So locate yourself today. Do you feel more surrounded by your actual surroundings? Or are you consumed with being surrounded by thought, words in the head, thinking, labeling, judging, analyzing, processing? Are you consumed by that? If you are, that is unconsciousness. If you clicked on this video, either you know that or this was an accident that you accidentally clicked this. Odds are you know that. Just like when I click on an Eckhart Tolle video or Ram Dass or whoever it is that I use to help me come away from being consumed by thought. And the sounds in your room, the sounds in my room, the sounds in life can be very powerful and effective in drawing you out from listening to thought. As I mentioned before, sound really helps me more than anything, because I know when I'm listening to thought, it's talking all day, or if I'm listening to the present moment. And when I can just do that simple little shift, just to notice, what am I listening to? What am I immersing myself in? The sounds in my room, the sounds in my car as I'm driving. I find those very helpful. I used to fill all that space when I was in unconsciousness. I would fill all that space while in the car with music or even listening to things, audiobooks. I would fill that space. And now, as I'm practicing more consciousness, that space is very valuable to me, that silence, so that I can focus on the road noise or whatever I'm hearing. And that constant sound, a constant noise, I find that even more helpful to help me stay connected and grounded in being surrounded by life and focusing on the life around me. Consciousness is just an ability to choose where to focus. You're awake, and you have a choice. You can focus on the sounds of the thoughts going on in your head constantly, or you can choose to focus on the sounds going on around you in life. The better choice is always the sounds going on around you in life. However, if you do turn your focus, and sometimes you will, because it's very loud, and so you're still conscious, but you'll turn your focus to the thoughts, knowing that you are not it. That's very key. If you do turn your focus to the thoughts in the head, to know that you're a silent observer of that you're just a bystander, a witness of what's going on in there. To not engage, to not react, to not believe in the stories, to not allow the pain that is being created inside to stimulate you into action and possess you. As I'm going about the day in daily life being conscious, say at home, it's more about what I'm seeing around me in my space and just taking care of things. Everything around you is asking you to maintain it. Everything. So I just observe, whatever the word is, observe with a V, what's around me. And if it's out of place or it needs cleaned or cared for, I do that. If I'm driving, as I said, I focus on the road noise. If you are at work, you can focus on your work. Surround yourself in the work around you that is to be done. And you will hear the voice in your head because you may be working with other people and it may have a lot to say about those other people. But just be the witnessing bystander of everything your drama queen or king is saying about the people around you. If you are home with your partner or husband or wife or whatever, or children, be with them. Meaning, listen to what they're saying, observe what they're doing. They are part of your life experience in that moment, so be with them. I find that if a person is in my awareness, they take priority over things and objects that need taken care of. So if they are with me, then I will turn my focus because I'm conscious, and then I have a choice where to put my focus. So I put my focus on them. Life flowing through them, through their words, through their actions. And sometimes their words and actions are coming from unconsciousness. And I feel it's even more important to be present and conscious with someone who is lost in unconsciousness. Because your ability to stay conscious, which is just a choice where you put your focus, and be present there with them without engaging, without reacting with their unconsciousness, then has the power to pull them out of that deep unconsciousness. It may not. Think about that for a minute. Has there ever been a time where you were telling someone, you were lost in a story in your head, you were engaging and reacting with it? The drama queen had told you a really big story about something that had happened that should not have happened to you. It was, someone did you wrong, and you were really wanting to tell another person. And maybe the drama queen in your head, the whole purpose of telling that other person was to get their sympathy, their validation, a reaction. It wanted a certain reaction of validation. Tell me I'm right. Back me up here. Be on my side. Be on my team. Let me know you love me by agreeing with me. Agreeing with my unconscious story. And maybe you were with a conscious person and they, as you told the story, they didn't give you what your drama queen was after. They did not provide that. And maybe that part of you was shocked, like, wow, they didn't react to that at all. Like, you got nothing to say to that? Like, are you not going to agree with me? Are you not going to back me up here? And maybe they just sat with you and they listened, but they didn't offer that. They did not give in to that. They did not back you up with unconsciousness and support of that pain story. And they just sat with you. They didn't argue with you or tell you you were wrong, but they also didn't validate anything. What does that do? It provides space then. It provides space for the person lost in unconsciousness to reflect a little bit and like, oh, well, maybe I'm unconscious here, or maybe I'm listening to a painful story that's not doing me any good, and they know it, and maybe they've heard it so many times and they know it's just hurting me. When every time I get sucked into this story and this reaction and this engagement with this drama queen in my head, I just hurt and suffer, and they know that, and they're not fueling that. It gives you space to reflect, which can then snap you out of it and be like, oh, well, maybe it's not as big of a deal as the drama queen inside my head is saying that it is. Maybe it actually doesn't matter. Maybe it's actually insignificant to what I am. Notice that next time you're wanting to tell someone something, whether that's a friend for support or the person that your ego voice is angry with. Notice if they don't give you reaction or engagement and can just sit there. Notice how angry that might make the drama queen in your head. And then now they've got a story of how this person doesn't support them anymore. And this person's not their friend anymore. And this person, and it may then make you remove yourself from that person. You did, because your drama queen didn't get what it wanted from them. And that's how, when people talk about vibration or levels of, that's how it kind of corrects itself. Unconsciousness doesn't like consciousness. Unconsciousness will find other unconscious people to interact with. So if you are actually practicing consciousness and your drama queen is talking to you about some unconscious person and how horrible they are and this and that, you're kind of sucked into a level of unconsciousness there. But if you're able to just observe them without judging them as unconscious, as they rant and rave or do whatever they do, and you can just be with that person and let them be and act and say and do whatever they're doing, as long as it's not an extreme. If it's extreme and you're in physical danger, then by all means remove yourself so that you're not injured. But if they're just ranting and raving and yelling and exploding and whatever they're doing, you can just observe it as a witness, even though they may be saying you're the cause and it's about you. And that's been one of my biggest triggers for me to go into unconsciousness and defend my ego, my drama queen. She does not like to be blamed or accused. And that will turn up the heat inside, and it's very difficult for me to stay because the pain is great. The pain, and it's very quick. She turns that emotion up really fast, like, and there's anger, and there's, you better defend me, and you better defend me now. The other day I had an instance where she came up real fast like that, the ego voice, the drama queen in my head. And it was just over the way someone was looking at me. And this was my husband, by the way. And he's sick, like he is not feeling well. The flu is kind of going around. And he was sick. And I was leaving to go get us some breakfast. And he was just not himself. And so I was, we just woke up, and I think I was not quite fully grounded in consciousness yet. My drama queen was kind of already had woke up before I had, and I could feel discomfort in me just upon awakening. And so I was aware of that, and I went to just kind of hug him, and my hand was cold, and he was running a fever, and when I hugged him, my cold hand touched him, and you're cold. It was a big reaction from him. And I said, all right then, I'll be right back. And when I left, there was a lot of energy building in me, even though I was able to control my tongue. I was able to be conscious enough to hold back the emotion of saying things or using a tone or having an attitude. I was able to do that. But as I was leaving, all that energy closed the door a little harder than I normally would. And I was very aware of it. I'm like, yep, there it is. There's that energy coming out of me. And when that happens, that's just as important to your consciousness practice as when you're able to go through the day being very present and very grounded in the actual calmness and peacefulness of what's surrounding you. That's just as important, because then that tells you where that drama queen has her stories. And the story she was telling, I could hear her talking, that's just rude. Which is actually just funny to listen to that she thought that was rude. It's just rude. He don't have to, just because he doesn't, there's the story. I'm going to tell you what she was saying. Just because he's sick doesn't mean he has to be mean to me. I was trying to be nice, and I was trying to be good, and blah blah blah. And his reaction had nothing to do with me, and more to do with, he didn't physically feel good. And when you don't physically feel good, it is more difficult to control that unconscious part of you, that drama queen or king that lives in there. When you don't feel good, it's more of a challenge, because then you physically don't feel good. It's more difficult to keep that part of you from speaking out of your mouth. So it had nothing to do with me or what I was doing or not doing or my drama queen. But she took offense to that. She was offended by how he looked at her and what he had said to her. When here's her story, she was just trying to be nice and loving. And so, rage, energy, anger came up very quickly. So now I know that is something she will want me to defend. Her identity of being nice, being good, being loving, and that's a big one for me. That's a big identity that I've been protecting all my life, to the point of, the drama queen having me, say yes to things I couldn't do or didn't have time to do or didn't have any interest in doing. All just to defend and protect that, but I'm good. I'm a good person. I'm a loving person. I'm a nice person. And they would control my behaviors out into the world. And so it controlled the energy coming out of my arm to slam the door on the way out. And then I got in the car, and I was aware of it, and I was like, yep, that came out. Drama queen came out. And then I had to sit and listen without engaging and agreeing with the ego voice in my head. Yeah, we were just being... So I wasn't lost to it, but it did overtake me. It did... That's such a strong pain, a strong story, a strong belief, that it was able to come up and out. And what needs to replace that now is the understanding that it's never about the drama queen. It's any time anyone behaves unconsciously has nothing to do. It is never personal. It is never about you. It is all about that other drama king or queen in their head coming out of them. It has nothing to do with you. Even if they blame it on you, pin it on you, Nothing is never personal. So the never personal belief needs to become stronger, or the knowledge, or the understanding, that needs to become stronger in me than but I was just trying to help, or I was just being good, and I was being a good person, and I was being loving, and I was just trying to do this, or I was just trying to do that. Okay. It's never personal. It is never personal. And if that thought can come up before I was just trying thought, the whole, I'm a victim here. All I was trying to do was help. All I was trying to do was be nice. It's never personal. It's never about I. It's never about the drama queen that lives inside your head. It's never about her and her being loved or not being loved. It's all about the other unconsciousness you're dealing with. Now she can create unconsciousness also and cause other people to feel that way as well. So it's never about what it says it's about. Never upset for what we think we're upset about. It's never about that. It's never about the voice in our head. It's never personal. And when you detach from the personal me, because the drama queen is part of the personal me, then it can't be personal, because there is no personal me. There's just consciousness. And if you can see consciousness, there's consciousness and there's unconsciousness. And when someone acts out of unconsciousness, that's just unconsciousness. It's not personal. If you take it personal, then it's going to trigger the unconsciousness in you. And now you're both unconscious. Now you're slamming the door on the way out. It's just consciousness and unconsciousness. There's no me and you. We're either awake or we're not awake. We're either grounded in presence or we're not. We're either holding our focus on being surrounded in life and what's surrounding us right now, or we're lost and our focus is totally consumed by the voice in the head and the thoughts. And in that moment, the thought came first before the anger. It was very brief, but the thought was, how dare he look at me that way? And then the anger for defensive energy come up. I was just trying to be nice, said the drama queen. And then that energy, that unconsciousness, that pain. So sometimes those are more difficult. I mean, they happen so quickly. They're more difficult to catch. But the more consciousness, the more you practice during non-triggered times, the more you practice. That could have gone a lot worse had I not been practicing. Did I not been practicing staying grounded in consciousness and not buying into everything the voice says? That could have gone a lot worse. I mean, I could have said a lot of things. I could have had a reaction, a deeply unconscious reaction. I could have thrown a fit. I could have said, forget it, I'm not going to get you breakfast, you ungrateful. I mean, I could have said a lot of painful, hurtful things. And because he was not physically feeling well and his unconsciousness was right there at the surface, being grouchy, he could have said a lot of things. And then there we go. Now we're fighting over nothing. We're fighting over nothing, over an unconscious moment. There's more there. that, yeah, I can feel more there to that. I can feel more there to that conversation that may come out later. As far as shifting more and more and more into consciousness, where that very fast energy does not take you over anymore. I think there's more to that conversation. But for now, we'll leave it there. Remember to be with all things and let all things be.